The Mafia boss's baby screamed for an hour on the plane. Passengers whispered. Flight attendants stayed away, too terrified to approach. Then a broke single mom did something no one else dared. She walked straight into first class and took the crying infant from his arms. What she didn't know, calming his son would trap her in his dangerous world forever. The baby's screams cut through the cabin like a siren. Maya Carter pressed her fingers against her temples, trying to focus on anything except the wailing coming from first class. Beside her, 5-year-old Lily had finally fallen asleep, her small head resting against Maya's shoulder, earbuds blocking out the chaos. Someone needs to do something, a businessman muttered from across the aisle. Maya glanced toward the closed curtains separating economy from first class. The crying had been going on for nearly an hour now, relentless, desperate, the kind that made your chest tighten with sympathy even through the exhaustion. A flight attendant rushed past, her face pale. "Is everything okay up there?" Maya asked. The attendant paused, lowering her voice. "The passenger is difficult. No one wants to." She stopped herself. "We're doing our best." Maya knew that tone. Fear disguised as professionalism. The baby's cries grew worse, hoarse now, like the child had been screaming so long their voice was giving out. Maya had heard that sound before. Lily had been a colicky baby, and there were nights Maya thought she'd lose her mind from the crying. But she'd learned the signs: overstimulation, exhaustion, the desperate need for a specific kind of comfort. This baby needed help. Real help. "Miss, please return to your seat," the attendant said nervously as Maya stood. "I'm just going to. Trust me, you don't want to go up there." The woman's eyes darted toward first class. "The father is. He's not someone you approach uninvited." Maya should have listened. She should have sat back down, put in her own earbuds, and minded her business. She had enough problems: an eviction notice in her purse, $43 in her bank account, and no idea how she'd pay for Lily's asthma medication next month. But that baby's cry wasn't just annoying. It was pain. Maya gently adjusted Lily's head onto a rolled-up jacket and walked toward the curtain. The moment she pushed through, the temperature seemed to drop. First class was nearly empty, just a handful of passengers who'd clearly paid extra to be far from the crying. But in the front row, taking up 3 seats, was a scene that made Maya's steps falter. A man sat rigid in the window seat, a tiny infant pressed against his chest. 2 massive men in dark suits flanked him in the aisle seats, their expressions cold and alert. All 3 looked utterly out of their depth. The man holding the baby was younger than Maya expected, maybe mid-30s, with sharp Mediterranean features and dark hair that fell slightly over his forehead. His expensive suit jacket was draped over the seat beside him, his white shirt wrinkled and damp with what might have been spit up. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. But it was his hands that caught Maya's attention, large, scarred hands cradling the tiny baby with such careful desperation that her heart clenched. "Sir, we've tried everything." A flight attendant stood at a careful distance, wringing her hands. "Then try something else," the man said, his accent thick. Italian, Maya thought. His voice was low, dangerous, but underneath it she heard something unexpected: helplessness. The baby, a little boy, maybe 6 months old, was red-faced and inconsolable, his tiny fists batting at the air. One of the bodyguards noticed Maya first. He stood immediately, his hand moving inside his jacket. "She's just another passenger, boss," he said in Italian, though his eyes stayed locked on Maya like a threat. The man with the baby looked up. His eyes were striking, dark amber, like whiskey in sunlight, and completely exhausted. For a moment, they just stared at each other. "I can help," Maya said quietly. "We don't need," the bodyguard started. "Let her speak," the man's voice cut through like a blade. Maya took a careful step closer. "Your son is overstimulated. The cabin pressure, the noise, the lights, it's too much for him. He's been crying so long, he can't calm himself down now, even though he's exhausted." The man's jaw tightened. You know this how? I'm a mother. Maya gestured toward economy. My daughter had colic. Bad colic. I spent 6 months learning every trick in the book. The attendants already. They're scared of you, Maya interrupted, then immediately regretted her bluntness. A dangerous smile flickered across the man's face. Smart women. Maybe. But fear doesn't calm babies. Maya held out her hands. May I? The bodyguards exchanged glances. The man studied Maya for a long moment, and she had the unsettling feeling he was seeing everything: her worn jeans, her target clearance sweater, the exhaustion in her own eyes that probably mirrored his. What's your name? He asked.
Maya.
Maya Carter. Adriano Moretti, he said it like she should recognize it. Maya didn't, but she saw the way the flight attendant's eyes widened, the way she took another step back. Mr. Moretti, your son is in distress. Let me try. If I can't calm him in 5 minutes, I'll leave you alone. Adriano looked down at his crying son, then back at Maya. Something shifted in his expression, a wall coming down, just slightly. You drop him. You don't leave this plane alive, he said flatly. Maya's heart hammered, but she held his gaze. I won't drop him. Slowly, Adriano stood and transferred the baby into Maya's arms. The moment she felt the infant's weight, her body remembered everything: the specific way to support the head, the gentle pressure against her chest, the subtle rocking that wasn't really rocking at all. She turned slightly away from the harsh overhead lights, tucking the baby's face into the curve of her neck. Then she started humming, not a lullaby, but something low and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat set to music. The baby's scream stuttered, hiccuped. Maya adjusted her hold, applying gentle pressure to his back while maintaining the constant hum. She added a subtle sway, barely noticeable, matching it to the rhythm of the plane's engines. The crying softened to whimpers, then to tiny, exhausted gasps. Then, finally, silence. The baby's body went heavy against her shoulder, his breathing evening out into sleep. Maya continued humming for another minute, making sure he was truly settled before she dared to move. When she finally looked up, Adriano was staring at her like she'd performed a miracle. The entire first-class cabin had gone quiet. Even the bodyguards looked stunned. How did you? Adriano's voice was rough. White noise and darkness, Maya whispered. Pressure against the chest. Consistent rhythm. It mimics the womb. She gently transferred the sleeping baby back to Adriano, showing him how to maintain the hold. Keep him like this for at least 20 minutes before you try to lay him down. Adriano took his son with new carefulness, following Maya's positioning exactly. His hands, which had seemed so dangerous moments ago, were infinitely gentle. Thank you, he said quietly. 2 words that clearly didn't come easily to him. Maya nodded, backing toward the curtain. She was almost through when his voice stopped her. Miss Carter, this debt will be repaid. It sounded less like gratitude and more like a promise. Or a threat. Maya didn't respond. She just slipped back through the curtain, her hands shaking as adrenaline caught up with her. She had no idea she'd just changed her life forever. Maya thought she'd never see Adriano Moretti again. Baggage claim at JFK was chaos. Crying children, frustrated travelers, and the endless squeak of luggage wheels on polished floors. Maya stood with Lily, watching the carousel spin, praying their 2 battered suitcases hadn't been lost. Mommy, I'm hungry, Lily said, tugging her sleeve. I know, baby. We'll get something soon. Maya had exactly enough cash for a taxi to Queens and maybe a box of cereal. Everything else would have to wait until her paycheck if her boss didn't cut her hours again. Maya Carter. She turned, and her stomach dropped. Adriano stood 10 feet away, flanked by his bodyguards. But this time, he held a peacefully sleeping Nico in a designer baby carrier, looking almost normal, except for the 3 men in suits watching the crowd with predatory awareness. Lily pressed closer to Maya's leg. Mr. Moretti, Maya said carefully, I'm glad your son is doing better. Because of you, Adriano approached, and the crowd seemed to part unconsciously. He slept the rest of the flight. First time in 3 weeks, he's managed more than an hour.
Good.
That's good. Maya grabbed their suitcases as they tumbled onto the carousel, ready to escape. Wait. Adriano's voice carried command naturally. I need to speak with you. I really have to. 5 minutes. Please. The please surprised her. She glanced at Lily, then back at him. Okay. 5 minutes. They moved to a quieter corner near the exit. Maya kept Lily behind her, maternal instinct on high alert. One of the bodyguards produced a tablet, handing it to Adriano. I had my people look into you, Adriano said bluntly. Hope you don't mind. Maya's jaw tightened. Actually, I do mind. Maya Carter, 28, works part-time at a medical supply warehouse in Queens. Widowed 3 years ago. Husband died in a construction accident. One daughter, Lily, age 5. Currently 3 months behind on rent, facing eviction. No family support. Heat flooded Maya's face, shame mixed with anger. You have no right. You saved my son from hours of pain on that plane, Adriano interrupted. In my world, that creates obligation. I pay my debts. I don't want your money. I'm not offering charity. He shifted Nico carefully, the baby still sleeping. I'm offering a job. Nico's nanny died 2 months ago. Heart attack. Since then, I've gone through 6 replacements. None lasted more than a week. He hates everyone. His eyes met hers. Except you. Maya laughed incredulously. You want me to work for you? I don't even know you. You know I'm a good father. You saw that on the plane. I also know you're not just a businessman. Maya lowered her voice, aware of Lily listening. I've seen the news. Moretti Empire, real estate, shipping, nightclubs. And the things they can't prove, but everyone knows. Adriano's expression didn't change. I protect what's mine. I provide for my people. And I never let debts go unpaid. He glanced at Lily. Your daughter needs stability. Healthcare. A good school. I can provide all of that. In exchange for what? Take care of Nico. Live in my Manhattan estate, separate wing, complete privacy. Salary of $150,000 annually, full benefits, housing included. Maya's knees almost buckled. That was more than she'd made in the last 3 years combined. Why me? You could hire anyone, trained professionals, people with credentials. Credentials didn't stop 6 nannies from failing. Adriano's voice softened slightly. You weren't afraid of me. You saw a crying baby and your first instinct was to help, even though my men probably looked ready to shoot you. That's who I need for my son. Someone who sees him first, everything else second. Maya wanted to say no. Every logical part of her brain screamed to walk away from this dangerous man and his world. But then Lily coughed, that tight, wheezing cough that meant her inhaler was running low. Maya had been rationing it for a week. I need to think about it, Maya said finally. Adriano nodded, pulling a card from his pocket. Heavy stock, embossed lettering. My personal number. You have 48 hours, then the offer expires. Why the deadline? Because I'm desperate, Miss Carter. And desperate men can't afford to wait. He looked down at Nico, sleeping peacefully against his chest. He needs you. I'm just honest enough to admit it. Before Maya could respond, Adriano's phone buzzed. His expression hardened as he read the message. When he looked up, the vulnerable father was gone, replaced by something cold and dangerous. I have to go. Think carefully, Maya. This could solve all your problems, he paused. Or create new ones. Either way, the choice is yours. He walked away, bodyguards closing ranks around him and Nico. Maya watched them disappear into a black SUV with tinted windows. Lily tugged her hand. Mommy, who is that man? Maya looked down at the card in her hand, then at her daughter's innocent face. I don't know, baby, she whispered. I really don't know. But she pocketed the card anyway. 6 days later, Maya stood in her apartment staring at the eviction notice taped to her door. She'd hoped for a miracle. Instead, she got a deadline. 7 days to pay $4,800 or be out on the street. Mommy, why are you crying? Lily asked from the couch, wrapped in a blanket despite the summer heat. The air conditioning had died 3 weeks ago, and Maya couldn't afford to fix it. I'm not crying, baby. Just tired. Maya crumpled the notice and tossed it toward the overflowing trash can.
It missed.
Her phone buzzed. Another text from her boss. Have to cut you to 2 shifts next week. Sorry, Maya. Business is slow. 2 shifts meant maybe $200. Not even enough for groceries and Lily's medication. Maya pulled Adriano's card from her wallet. She'd looked at it 100 times over the past week, always finding a reason not to call. He was dangerous. His world was violent. She'd be putting Lily at risk. But wasn't poverty risky too? Wasn't homelessness? Wasn't rationing a child's asthma medication because you couldn't afford refills? She was reaching for her phone when someone knocked on the door. Maya tensed. Debt collectors had become frequent visitors. She checked the peephole and froze. A woman in an elegant gray suit stood in the hallway, holding a leather briefcase. Definitely not a debt collector. Maya opened the door a crack. Can I help you? Maya Carter? The woman's smile was professional, cool. My name is Elena Russo. I work for Mr. Moretti. May I come in? Maya's first instinct was to slam the door. Instead, she glanced back at Lily, then stepped into the hallway, pulling the door closed behind her. How did you find me? Mr. Moretti is very thorough. Elena set her briefcase on the floor and extracted a folder. He asked me to deliver this personally. The 48-hour deadline has passed, but Mr. Moretti is willing to extend his offer with modifications. I didn't call because I'm not interested. Then I'll leave. Elena held out the folder anyway. But you should at least see what you're turning down. Against her better judgment, Maya opened it.
The first page was a contract.
The second was a benefits summary. The third made her hands shake. A certified check for $25,000 made out to her. That's a signing bonus, Elena explained. Plus first month's salary, advance on medical benefits, and relocation expenses. The full contract includes healthcare, private insurance, no copays, specialist visits covered. Your daughter Lily would attend Ashford Prep, tuition paid in full. Ashford Prep. Maya had seen it once, driving through the Upper East Side. Limestone building, kids in uniforms, the kind of school that built futures. This is too much, Maya whispered. Mr. Moretti values competence. He's seen 6 nannies fail in 2 months. You're the only person who successfully calmed Nico. Elena's expression softened slightly. He's also aware of your situation. The eviction notice, your daughter's medical needs. He's offering you a way out. And what does he want in return? Your contract is very specific. Care for Nico Moretti, live on site at the Manhattan estate, maintain confidentiality about household affairs. Standard NDA, non-compete clause. You'd have your own wing, 3 bedrooms, full kitchen, separate entrance. Lily can live with you, attend school nearby. Maya stared at the check. $25,000. It was more money than she'd ever seen at once. What about the other stuff? Maya asked quietly. His business. The dangerous parts. You're being hired as a nanny, Miss Carter. Not as an associate. Your job is Nico, nothing else. Elena's eyes hardened slightly. But I won't lie to you. Mr. Moretti's world can be complicated. There are security measures in place, rules you need to follow, and there are people who might see you as leverage. Leverage? You'd be living with his son. That makes you important. Protected, but important. Elena closed the briefcase. I can give you another 24 hours to decide. But Miss Carter, between you and me, you don't have 24 hours. Your daughter needs her medication refilled in 3 days. Your eviction is in 7. This offer solves both problems immediately. Maya looked down at the check again. She thought about Lily's cough getting worse, about sleeping in their car, about the shame of failing her daughter. If I say yes, when would I start? Tomorrow. Mr. Moretti has a car waiting downstairs.
Now?
He sent you here before I even agreed. Elena smiled slightly. Mr. Moretti is a very good judge of character, Miss Carter. He knew you'd say yes. The arrogance should have angered her. Instead, Maya just felt tired. She looked through the open door at Lily, curled on their threadbare couch, wheezing slightly in her sleep. I need to negotiate something first, Maya said finally. Lily comes with me. Non-negotiable. And I don't get involved in anything illegal. Ever. Elena pulled out her phone, typed quickly, and waited. 10 seconds later, it buzzed. Mr. Moretti agrees to both terms. Do we have a deal? Maya took the pen Elena offered. Her hand only shook a little as she signed her name. The Moretti estate looked like something from a movie. Maya pressed her face against the car window as they drove through iron gates that required 3 security checks. The main house, mansion really, was limestone and glass, surrounded by manicured gardens that probably cost more to maintain than her annual salary. Mommy, is this a castle? Lily whispered, eyes wide. Something like that, baby. Elena led them through a side entrance, avoiding the main house. Your wing is here, completely separate. Mr. Moretti values privacy, and he assumes you do too. The wing was bigger than any apartment Maya had ever lived in. 3 bedrooms with attached bathrooms, a full kitchen with marble counters, a living room with furniture that looked too expensive to sit on. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a private garden. This can't be real, Maya breathed. Your room is the master. Lily's is next door. We took the liberty of furnishing it based on her age. If anything needs changing, just let housekeeping know. Elena set down Maya's suitcases, the only belongings they'd brought. Mr. Moretti will meet with you in an hour. I suggest you settle in first. After Elena left, Maya and Lily explored like nervous tourists. Lily discovered her room and screamed with delight. It had a canopy bed, shelves full of books, and a window seat overlooking the garden. Can I really stay here? Lily asked, bouncing on the bed. Yes, baby. This is home now. The words felt surreal. Exactly 1 hour later, someone knocked. Maya opened the door to find Adriano standing there, Nico in his arms. The baby was awake this time, drooling on his father's expensive suit. Miss Carter, I trust everything is acceptable. His formality seemed forced, like he was playing a role. It's more than acceptable. It's overwhelming.
Good.
Nico has been difficult since you arrived. I think he remembers you. Adriano held out his son. Maya took Nico, and the baby immediately relaxed against her, his tiny fist clutching her shirt. Something warm bloomed in her chest, a feeling she hadn't expected. He does remember, she murmured, smoothing down Nico's dark hair. Adriano watched them with an unreadable expression. There are things you need to know. Rules. Elena mentioned security measures. More than that, he gestured to the living room, and they sat, Maya with Nico, Lily coloring at the coffee table, Adriano perched on the edge of an armchair like he didn't know how to relax in his own home. First, you don't leave the estate without informing my head of security, Marco. Ever. Second, if anyone asks who you are, you're Nico's nanny. Nothing more. Third, there are parts of this house you don't enter. My office wing, the east basement, and the third-floor library after 9 p.m. Maya's skin prickled.
Why?
What happens in those places? Business. The kind you said you didn't want to know about. And if I accidentally... You won't. His tone left no room for argument. Marco will give you a full briefing tomorrow. He runs background checks on everyone's staff, visitors, delivery people. He'll seem paranoid.
He's supposed to be.
Lily looked up from her coloring. Is someone bad coming? Adriano's expression softened. The first time Maya had seen it happen. No, little one. But I have important things here, so I make sure they're protected. Like how your mom protects you. Lily considered this, then went back to coloring. Satisfied. There's something else, Adriano said, lowering his voice. My men will test you. Test me how? They'll ask questions. Watch where you go. Check if you're trustworthy. He leaned forward. Some of them think you're a spy. Others think you're an opportunist. A few think I'm an idiot for bringing an outsider this close to Nico. Are you? Maya asked. An idiot? A ghost of a smile.
Possibly.
But my instincts are usually good. And they're telling me you're exactly what Nico needs. He stood, adjusting his cuffs. Prove them right, Miss Carter. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya learned the rhythm of the estate. Mornings with Nico, feeding, playing, walks in the garden under Marco's watchful eye. Afternoons with both children while Adriano disappeared into his forbidden office wing. Evenings were quietest, after Lily went to bed, when Maya would rock Nico and hum the same tune from the airplane. Adriano's men were exactly as he'd described. Marco, the head of security, appeared randomly, checking doors, asking casual questions that felt like interrogations. 2 others, Sal and Dominic, watched her constantly, whispering in Italian they assumed she didn't understand. But Maya also noticed other things. The way Adriano's shoulders relaxed when he heard Nico laugh. How he'd sometimes stand in the doorway watching Maya play with his son, a strange loneliness in his eyes. The nights he came home with blood on his knuckles and wouldn't meet her gaze at breakfast. One evening, 3 weeks in, Adriano joined them for dinner. Unexpected, unusual. He sat stiffly at the table while Maya fed Nico, Lily chattering about her new school. Mr. Moretti, Maya said carefully. You don't have to be so formal. We live in your house.
Nico is, she paused.
He's starting to feel like mine too. Adriano looked at her for a long moment. Then call me Adriano.
And Maya?
His voice dropped. Thank you for making this feel like a home instead of just a house. It was the first crack in his armor. And Maya realized, with growing unease, that she was starting to care about more than just the baby. The change happened slowly, then all at once. It started with breakfast. Adriano began appearing in their wing each morning, still dressed in his suit but with his tie loosened, sitting at the kitchen island while Maya prepared Nico's bottle. He'd drink espresso and read something on his phone. Business, she assumed, but his presence shifted the atmosphere from lonely to almost domestic. You don't have to come here every morning, Maya said one day, wiping oatmeal from Nico's face. I'm sure you're busy. I am busy, Adriano replied, not looking up. This is the only hour of my day that feels normal. Normal? Maya wondered what his version of normal looked like compared to hers. 2 months into her employment, Lily started calling him Mr. Addy because Adriano was too difficult to pronounce. He'd corrected her once, seen her face fall, and never did it again. Now he answered to it without hesitation. Maya watched him teach Lily how to play chess one afternoon, his large hands carefully positioning the pieces, his voice patient in a way she'd never imagined. Nico sat in Maya's lap, grabbing at her hair. Who taught you chess? Maya asked. My father. Before he forgot I existed, Adriano moved Lily's night. Try again, Piccola. It was the first personal thing he'd ever shared. The estate staff noticed the changes too. Rosa, the housekeeper, started smiling at Maya instead of watching her suspiciously. Even Marco seemed less hostile, though he still appeared at random moments like a paranoid ghost. But not everyone was pleased. You're getting too comfortable, Sal muttered one day in Italian, standing in the garden while Maya played with the children. He didn't know she'd been teaching herself the language using an app. Dominic laughed. Boss is going soft. Spending more time with the nanny than doing business. It's not like that, Sal said. But he didn't sound convinced. Maya pretended not to hear, but their words burrowed under her skin. The shift came during a storm. September rolled in with unusual violence, thunder that shook the windows and lightning that turned the sky purple. The power went out just after Maya put both children to bed. Emergency lights clicked on, bathing everything in eerie red. Maya grabbed a flashlight and checked on Lily first, sleeping soundly, thank God, then went to Nico's nursery. He was stirring, whimpering at the thunder. Shuh, sweet boy. It's just noise, she lifted him, and he settled against her chest immediately. Is he okay? Adriano's voice came from the doorway. In the red emergency lighting, he looked different, younger, more vulnerable.
He's fine.
Just scared. Adriano stepped into the nursery. I hate storms. They remind me of, he stopped, jaw tightening. Of what? For a long moment, Maya thought he wouldn't answer. Thunder cracked overhead, and in the flash of lightning through the window, she saw pain cross his face. The night Nico was born, he said quietly. There was a storm like this. The hospital lost power for 4 minutes during the delivery. When the lights came back on, I had a son and no wife, his voice cracked. 4 minutes. That's how long it took for everything to change. Maya's throat tightened. I'm sorry. I didn't know. No one does. Everyone thinks I'm just the cold Mafia boss whose wife died in childbirth. They don't know I held her hand and felt her slip away while the machines went dark. He looked at Nico, sleeping peacefully in Maya's arms. Sometimes I look at him and see her. Then I feel guilty because he deserves a father who sees him, not a ghost. Adriano, you're a good father. Anyone can see that. Am I? I threatened you the first time we met. I run an empire built on violence. I have enemies who would kill him to hurt me, his hands clenched into fists. What kind of father brings his son into this world? The kind who tries, Maya said firmly. The kind who holds him through the night. Who learns to change diapers even though you clearly had no idea what you were doing at first. You noticed that? You put the diaper on backwards 3 times. A surprised laugh escaped him, genuine, unguarded. Rosa had to show me. I was too proud to ask. They stood in the red darkness, Nico sleeping between them, and something unspoken passed through the space. An understanding. Maybe the beginning of something neither of them was ready to name. Maya, Adriano said softly. The people at Lily's school. They've been saying things. She stiffened. How did you know? Marco hears everything. He told me they're calling you the criminal's nanny, that they're avoiding Lily. I can handle it. You shouldn't have to. He moved closer and Maya's breath caught. If you want to leave, if this is too much, I'll help you find something else. Somewhere safe. Are you firing me?
No.
I'm giving you an out. Because I'm starting to realize you're not just the nanny anymore, and that makes you dangerous to know. Dangerous how? His amber eyes met hers in the emergency lighting. Because people I care about don't survive long in my world. And Maya? His voice dropped to barely a whisper. I'm starting to care. Before she could respond, the power surged back. Normal lights flooded the room, breaking the moment. Adriano stepped back immediately, his mask sliding back into place. Get some rest, he said, formal again. Tomorrow is a long day. He left, and Maya stood holding Nico, her heart racing for reasons that had nothing to do with the storm. She was falling into something she couldn't escape. And the terrifying part? She wasn't sure she wanted to. The weekend trip was supposed to be a break. Adriano had a family villa 2 hours north, a sprawling property near the Hudson River, where he'd spent childhood summers. He'd invited Maya and the children, insisting everyone needed fresh air away from the city. It's secure, he'd promised. Walls, cameras, armed guards. Safer than Manhattan. Maya should have known better than to trust the word safe in Adriano's world. They arrived Friday evening. The villa was beautiful. Old stone covered in ivy, with gardens that rolled down to the river. Lily ran through the grass, laughing in a way she hadn't since before her father died. Nico babbled happily in Maya's arms, grabbing at butterflies. For one perfect moment, they felt like a real family. That night, they had dinner on the terrace. Adriano opened a bottle of wine, poured Maya a glass without asking, and actually smiled. Not the controlled expression he used with his men, but something genuine. Thank you for coming, he said quietly while the children played nearby. I know this isn't what you signed up for. What did I sign up for exactly? Maya asked, sipping the wine. It was probably expensive, but she couldn't tell the difference.
A job.
Instead, you got. He gestured vaguely.
This. Me.
My complications. Your complications have names. Nico and Lily seemed to be managing them fine. Adriano's expression softened as he watched the children. Lily was showing Nico how to stack blocks, her voice patient and gentle. She's good with him. You've raised her well. I did my best. Alone, the wine made her bolder. What about Nico's mother? You mentioned her during the storm, but… Juliana, his jaw tightened. She was arranged. Our families wanted the alliance, so we married. But somewhere in the transaction, we found something real. She was pregnant when she found out about my business, the real business. She threatened to leave. Take the baby, his voice went hollow. Then the storm came. The complications. And suddenly, none of our arguments mattered because she was gone. I'm sorry. Don't be. She'd have left eventually. No one stays once they really know what I am. Maya wanted to argue, but Marco appeared before she could respond, his face grim. He whispered something in Italian to Adriano, whose entire body went rigid. Get them inside, Adriano said quietly.
Now.
What's happening? Maya asked, standing. Probably nothing. Just a precaution, but his hand had moved inside his jacket, touching something Maya didn't want to think about. They'd barely reached the villa's entrance when the first gunshot cracked through the air. Everything became chaos. Adriano shoved Maya through the door, screaming orders in Italian. More shots. Rapid, professional. Glass shattered in the hallway. Lily screamed, and Maya grabbed her, pulling both children against her body. The cellar. Adriano shouted. Marco, get them down. But Marco was already firing through a window, pinned down by whoever was outside. Adriano grabbed Maya's arm, dragging her toward a door she'd never noticed, hidden behind a painting in the hallway. Down the stairs. There's a wine cellar with a steel door. Lock yourselves in and don't open it for anyone except me. Understand? Adriano, do you understand? His voice was steel, but his eyes were desperate. Yes. He kissed Nico's head, quick, fierce, then pushed them toward the stairs. Maya stumbled down into darkness, Lily crying against her hip, Nico wailing in confusion. The cellar was exactly as described, rows of wine bottles and a heavy steel door at the back. Maya herded the children through, slammed it shut, and twisted the lock. They were plunged into complete darkness. Mommy, I'm scared, Lily sobbed. I know, baby. I know. Maya's hands shook as she pulled out her phone, turning on the flashlight. The weak beam illuminated stone walls and terrified faces. More gunshots above them, shouting in Italian. Something heavy crashed, furniture, maybe.
Or a body.
Maya tried to think. If something happened to Adriano, how long should they wait? Who would she call? Would the attackers find them? Then Nico started crying, loud, panicked. The sound would carry. Shush, sweet boy, please, Maya whispered frantically, rocking him. But he only cried harder, his screams echoing off the stone. Lily tugged her sleeve. Mommy, someone's coming? Footsteps on the stairs. Heavy boots. Multiple people. Maya's heart hammered. She placed Lily and Nico in the corner, then grabbed a wine bottle, the only weapon she could find. If they broke through that door, she'd fight. She'd die before letting anyone hurt these children. The footsteps stopped outside. Someone tried the handle. Then voices, arguing in Italian. Just a cellar. Check everywhere. The boss wants them alive. Maya made a decision. She turned off her phone's flashlight, plunging them into darkness. Then she began moving, carefully, quietly, toward the door. If she could surprise whoever came through, even for a second. The lock rattled. Someone was picking it. Maya raised the bottle, every muscle tensed, maternal instinct overriding terror. The door started to open. Then a single gunshot rang out, close and deafening. Someone screamed. The door slammed shut again. Maya. Adriano's voice, hoarse and desperate. Maya, it's me. Open the door. She fumbled with the lock, hands shaking so badly she could barely grip it. The door swung open, and Adriano stood there, suit torn, blood on his face, gun in his hand. Behind him, 3 bodies lay in the wine cellar entrance. Maya didn't look too closely. Are you hurt? He demanded, checking her over frantically. The children? We're okay. We're okay. Adriano pulled all three of them against him. Awkward, desperate, his whole body trembling. I thought I'd lost you. I thought. His voice broke. For the first time, Maya truly understood what she'd gotten herself into. And the terrifying part? Even staring at dead bodies with her children crying, she didn't want to leave. The police never came. Maya learned that night how Adriano's world really worked. Bodies disappeared. Bullet holes were repaired by morning. The local authorities asked no questions because they'd been paid not to. They returned to Manhattan the next day in a convoy of armored vehicles. Maya sat in silence, holding both children, replaying the moment she'd stood in that cellar ready to fight armed men with a wine bottle. What had she become? Adriano moved them to a new wing, higher floor, reinforced doors, panic room disguised as a closet. Marco tripled the security detail. Armed men now stood outside their door 24 hours a day. This is for your protection, Adriano had said, avoiding her eyes. Until we identify who sent them. But Maya knew the truth. She and the children were prisoners now. Expensive, comfortable prisoners, but prisoners nonetheless. A week passed. Then, two. Lily's school called, concerned about her sudden withdrawal and nightmares. Maya lied smoothly. A family emergency, nothing serious. She was getting too good at lying. The authorities did come eventually, federal agents asking about the incident at the villa. But they left within an hour, and Maya understood. Adriano had made that problem disappear too. Late one night, 3 weeks after the attack, Maya found Adriano in Nico's nursery. The baby slept peacefully, unaware his father was watching him with devastated eyes. You should be sleeping, Adriano said without turning. So should you, Maya stepped inside. When's the last time you slept more than 3 hours? Can't remember, he rubbed his face. Every time I close my eyes, I see you and the children in that cellar. I see what almost happened. But it didn't happen. We're safe. This time, he turned to face her, and Maya was shocked by how exhausted he looked. But there will be a next time. And a time after that. This is my life, Maya. Violence, paranoia, enemies around every corner. I can't change that. Can't or won't. His jaw tightened. You don't understand. Then explain it to me, Maya challenged, moving closer. Because right now, all I see is a man who claims to love his son but keeps him in a world where people shoot at him. Where he has to sleep with armed guards outside his door. Where his nanny has to be ready to die protecting him. You think I don't know that? Adriano's voice rose. You think I don't hate myself for it every single day? Then change it. Get out. Take Nico and disappear somewhere safe. It doesn't work that way. I have responsibilities.
People who depend on me.
Families I protect. You walk away from this world, and the world follows you. So, you're just going to keep living like this? Keep putting Nico in danger? Keep pretending this is normal? Maya's voice cracked. He deserves better than this, Adriano. He deserves a father who's alive to see him grow up. You think I don't want that? His control finally shattered. You think I don't look at him and wish I could give him a normal life? Take him to the park without bodyguards? Send him to school without worrying someone will use him against me? He gripped the crib rail so hard his knuckles went white. But I can't. This is who I am. This is what I built. And I can't unmake it just because I suddenly want to be someone different. Yes, you can, Maya said quietly. If you want it badly enough. And what about the families who depend on my protection? The businesses that would collapse? The enemies who would see my exit as weakness and move against everyone I've ever protected? I don't have those answers. But I know that if you don't change something, Nico will grow up thinking this is normal. That violence and fear are just part of life. Is that what Juliana would have wanted? Adriano flinched like she'd struck him. Don't. She died bringing him into this world. Don't waste that sacrifice by raising him in a cage. They stood in silence, Nico sleeping peacefully between them, unaware his future was being decided. There might be a way, Adriano finally said, to legitimize everything. Cut ties with the violent factions, keep the legal businesses, create distance from the families. He looked at Maya. But it would take time.
Years, maybe.
And it would make me vulnerable. People would see it as betrayal. They'd come for me. But Nico would be safe. Maybe. If I survive long enough to see it through, his voice dropped. And you'd have to stay. All of you. If you leave now, after the attack, my enemies will think you know something. They'll come for you. Maya's stomach dropped. So we're trapped here. You're protected here. There's a difference. He moved closer, his voice urgent. Maya, I know this isn't what you wanted, but I'm asking you to trust me. Stay with Nico. Help me figure out how to be a better father. And I swear I'll find a way to make this right. How long?
A year.
Maybe 2. I need time to shift things, make alliances, build something legitimate. His hand hesitated, then touched her face. Gentle, desperate. Can you give me that? Maya thought about Lily's nightmares. About the wine bottle she'd grabbed. About how Nico's first word had been mama. Looking right at her when he said it. She thought about the man standing before her, trying so hard to be someone different than he was raised to be. 1 year, she said finally. You have 1 year to start making real changes. Not promises. Actions. Or we leave, and you'll have to figure out how to keep us safe from a distance. Deal. Adriano's thumb brushed her cheek. Thank you. For not giving up on us.
Us.
The word hung between them, meaning more than just him and Nico. Maya left before she could do something stupid like kiss him. But as she closed the nursery door, she heard him whisper to his sleeping son, I promise I'll be better. For you. For all of us. And despite everything, Maya believed him. 1 year became 14 months. Maya watched from the garden as Adriano conducted yet another meeting in his office, the kind where men in expensive suits arrived with briefcases and left looking either satisfied or terrified. But lately, something had shifted. The visits were different. Lawyers now, not enforcers. Accountants, not muscle. Mama, watch. Lily called from the swing set. At 7 now, she'd grown confident, fearless. The nightmares had finally stopped 6 months ago. I'm watching, baby, Maya called back, adjusting Nico on her hip. He was almost 2, talking in full sentences, his father's dark eyes and his mother's smile. Down, Nico demanded, squirming. Maya set him on the grass, and he immediately toddled toward Lily, determined to keep up with the big kids. She'd invited 3 children from Lily's class today, a small birthday party, carefully vetted by Marco, who'd mellowed considerably over the past year. They seem happy, Adriano's voice came from behind her. Maya turned. He'd changed too, still sharp suits, but the shadows under his eyes had faded. He smiled more, laughed at Nico's jokes. Last week, he'd attended a school function with Maya, standing among the other parents like it was the most natural thing in the world. The other parents still whispered, but less. Adriano was becoming legitimate, slowly but surely. The Russo deal closed, he said quietly. That's the last of the old contracts. Maya's heart jumped. All of them? All of them. The shipping business is clean now. The nightclubs are being sold to legitimate buyers. The real estate holdings are completely legal, he paused. It's done, Maya. I'm out. She wanted to believe him. And the families? The ones who saw this as betrayal? Handled. Some took buyouts. Others found new leadership. His expression darkened briefly. It wasn't bloodless. But it's finished. Adriano, I know what you're going to say. That there's always one more thing, one more enemy. But I'm telling you, I'm done. The Moretti Empire is legitimate now. Boring even. I'm just another real estate developer with too much money and a complicated tax situation. Maya studied his face, looking for the lie. She didn't find one. What about the villa? The people who attacked us? Dead or in prison? That faction collapsed 8 months ago. He moved closer. You're safe. Lily's safe. Nico is safe. I kept my promise. You did, Maya admitted, feeling something tight in her chest loosen. You really did. Mama. Nico's voice rang out. He'd fallen in the grass and was holding up his hands for her. But when Maya moved to help him, Adriano beat her there, scooping up his son with practiced ease. You're okay, little man. Just a tumble. Nico clutched his father's collar, then looked back at Maya. Mama kiss. It still surprised her every time how naturally he'd given her that title. How completely he'd claimed her as his own. Maya kissed his forehead. All better? All better, Nico confirmed, then squirmed to get down again. Play. They watched him run back to Lily, who immediately started building him a fort out of fallen leaves. He called you Mama, Adriano said softly. He's been doing that for months. I know. But it's still he trailed off, jaw working. Juliana should be here. She should see him like this, happy, safe, loved. She is seeing him, Maya said gently. Somehow, I think she is. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the children play. Around them, the garden bloomed with late autumn colors, vibrant despite the season ending. Maya, Adriano said finally, I need to tell you something. Her stomach tightened. What? Your contract expires in 2 months. I'm not renewing it. The world tilted. What? But you said. Let me finish. He turned to face her fully. I'm not renewing your contract as Nico's nanny because I don't want you to be his employee anymore. He took her hand, the first time he'd touched her intentionally in months. I want you to stay because you want to. Because this is your home. Because he struggled with the words. Because we're a family now. All 4 of us. Maya's eyes burned. Adriano. I know I'm not offering a normal life. There will always be security, always be caution. And I know I'm not what you planned for yourself or Lily. But I'm asking anyway, his voice roughened.
Stay.
Not as an employee.
As
whatever you want to be.
partner. Co-parent, he paused.
More if you ever want that. But mostly just stay. Maya looked at the children, Lily pushing Nico on the swing now, both of them laughing. She thought about the scared, desperate woman on that plane 14 months ago. The one who'd seen a crying baby and acted on instinct. That single choice had changed everything. I'm not going anywhere, she said quietly. This is home. She stopped, then pushed forward. You're home. Adriano pulled her close, careful, reverent, like she might disappear. I don't deserve you. Probably not, Maya agreed, but she was smiling. Lucky for you, I'm staying anyway. Nico's voice cut through the moment. Dada.
Mama.
Look. They turned to see him standing on the bottom of the swing, Lily holding him steady, both children beaming with pride. I see you, little man, Adriano called. Very brave. We see you, baby, Maya added. And as they walked toward the children together, not boss and employee, not protector and protected, but something infinitely more complicated and real, Maya realized the plane had been more than an inciting incident. It had been fate putting her exactly where she needed to be. Where they all needed to be. Together.